Tugboat-Theodore. He's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do.
Hello. Oh, it's very hot here today. Oh, my. You know, maybe it's nice and cool outside. Come on, let's go see. Oh, my. Oh, it's much cooler out here. Oh, it's a lovely breeze off the water. It sounds like Theodore. Oh, hi, Theodore. Oh, he looks so nice and cool down there in the harbor. Oh, I wish I was in the water right now. Oh, that would be great. Although, there was a time when Theodore didn't want to be in the water. A storm out on the ocean had turned the big harbor into one great, big, wet roller coaster.
Whoa, did you see that one?
Said Hank as he rode a big wave.
Ride 'em, cowboy!
Shouted George. Emily laughed as another wave knocked Boduk's hat right over his face. The tugs were having a great time. All of them, that is, except Theodore. With all the bouncing around, Theodore felt kind of woozy, the way you do when you've been on a swing too long. He just wanted to go to sleep, but the waves wouldn't let him. Even snuggling up beside Hank didn't seem to help. As he tossed and turned, Theodore looked around him. The ocean was wet and choppy, but the land was dry and calm. It looked so nice and still on land, he said to himself. And then he had a curious thought. I wonder what it would be like to live on land. By the next morning, the storm had made lots of work for the tugboats.
Theodore and Hank, said the dispatcher, I would like you to check and see what washed up on the shoreline from the storm.
On our way, tooted Hank. Our favorite job, he whispered to Theodore. Interesting things always got thrown up on the shore after a storm. But Theodore didn't seem to hear Hank. He just kept pumping out the water he'd taken on during the night and daydreaming. What was the best thing you ever found after a storm? Hank asked. He thought for sure Theodore was going to say the rusty anchor like he always did. I wonder what it would be like to live on land, Theodore answered dreamily. Well, that's a funny answer, Hank said to himself. He thought he'd try again. What about the old lobster trap, or that piece of driftwood that looked like a crab? The interesting thing about dry land, said Theodore, as if he wasn't listening, is that it's dry and hardly ever moves up and down or needs to be pumped out after a storm. But Theodore didn't even seem to notice that Hank had stopped. He just kept drifting along in that dreamy way until... Watch out, Theodore! Theodore was so busy dreaming about dry land that he hadn't been looking out for it. He ran right into a dock. Theodore, are you all right? Hank huffed as he raced over to help his friend. Oh, I just hurt my side a little, said Theodore in a small but brave voice. Oh, you're going to have to go to the repair dock for that, said Hank. Well, the repair dock meant that Theodore would have to be taken out of the water. And that meant he would be on land. Well, living on land was full of new and wonderful experiences for Theodore. I'm flying! I'm flying! He laughed as he was lifted out of the water. What's it like up there? Asked Hank. Not wet at all, exclaimed Theodore, who until that very moment had never had a dry bottom in his life. And the best thing of all, he went on, the best thing is, it's so still. Hardly anything is moving, especially me. Well, seeing Theodore happy usually made Hank happy too, but not this time. "When do you think you'll be fixed up so we can go explore the shore?" he asked. "Oh," replied Theodore, "a long time from now, I hope." "I mean, oh, not too long, I hope." That night, Hank slept alone at the dock. He missed having Theodore to snuggle up with, and he hoped his friend would be back soon. Theodore was having trouble sleeping too. He was so excited about all the great things he was going to do tomorrow on land. The next morning, Theodore was up bright and early. He didn't want to miss a thing.
Hello there, Dente,
said a voice. Where did that come from? Wondered Theodore. He thought he was all alone.
Shediac the shipyard building at your service,
the voice rumbled on in a friendly sort of way. A building was talking to him. "Well, my name's not Denty, it's Theodore."
I see you had a bit of a bump, said the building. Feeling better now?
"Oh, fine," said Theodore. He met a new friend. "I'm so excited about being here, I hardly hurt at all anymore. Isn't this a great place?" Theodore looked out over the city.
It's so big and beautiful and busy, isn't it?
asked Shediac. "It sure is," agreed Theodore.
With all those boats moving here and there, Shediac went on.
"Boats? In the city?" repeated Theodore, looking around. Theodore couldn't see any boats in the city.
"Oh, you got hit harder than I thought," laughed Shediac. "I'm talking about the big harbor."
"It does look pretty nice," Theodore admitted. "But not as nice as living on land." Theodore looked around, trying to decide what to do first. "What shall we do today?" he asked finally.
"Oh, very busy day today," replied Shediac. "Very busy indeed. First we sit here for a while, nice and still. And then we sit some more. And after that, we can blink our eyes. Or squint if we're up for it. I really look forward to that."
Now, right around then, Hank was busy collecting things that the storm had blown up the other day. He missed Theodore. Exploring alone just wasn't as much fun. "Look at all the starfish and seaweed and driftwood and... What's that?" he asked himself, floating closer to get a better look. It's an old flagpole. Well, that gave Hank an idea. "I'll take it to show Theodore," he thought. He'll want to come back to the harbor for sure once he sees this. In an instant, he tied his tow rope onto the flagpole and set off to visit Theodore at the repair dock.
And after that, we still sit some more.
Shediac was still telling Theodore about all the things to do on land.
And finally, concluded Shediac, we close our eyes and fall asleep. Oh boy, what a day.
Well, Theodore was half asleep already just thinking about it.
"What do you do on the water?" asked Shediac.
"Well," replied Theodore, "sometimes I move big ships to their docks, and other times I tow barges by myself."
"Well, that really sounds like fun," said Shediac.
"Floating through the harbor all day, seeing different things all the time." "I guess," said Theodore. "It is." He was starting to feel kind of fidgety from sitting still so long, and his hull felt dry, without the water whooshing around it. Now the harbor looked really nice.
"You know," said Shediac, "I've always wondered what it would be like to live on the water."
"The most fun," said Theodore, "is exploring the shoreline with Hank." Theodore began to tell Shediac all about living on the water, and it seemed that just talking about the big harbor made him feel happier. Meanwhile, Hank was sailing happily towards his friend. Theodore is really gonna love this flagpole, he smiled to himself. Just then, the repair dock came into view. There was Theodore, talking and laughing with the shipyard building like they were best friends. Well, Hank stopped. He felt funny, as if all that happiness was running out a hole in his hull. I don't really feel like visiting anymore, Hank said to himself. I think I'll just go home.
Say, said Shediac, who's that?
Well, that's my friend Hank, replied Theodore excitedly.
Well, it looks like he's heading back to his dock, said Shediac.
Well, Theodore was disappointed. And I really wanted to find out what Hank found on the shore, he said.
Would I ever love to be a tugboat in the big harbor? Shediac exclaimed. Who wouldn't? Answered Theodore, who'd been thinking exactly the same thing.
The next morning, the dispatcher had given out all the jobs except one.
Hank, I have a special job for you. Theodore's all better now. He's ready to leave the repair dock. Would you like to go out and welcome him home to the big harbor?
Well, Hank tried to smile, but inside he was puzzled. What if Theodore doesn't want to come home with me, he thought, as he sailed off to welcome his friend. Hank wanted to turn around, but this time he couldn't. The dispatcher had asked him to go. Theodore was being lowered into the water. As he came closer, Hank could hear the shipyard building saying goodbye.
See you later, Denty. Don't let the barnacles bite.
Hi, Theodore, called Hank in a soft voice.
Hi, Hank,
smiled Theodore. How do you feel? Asked Hank. I feel like floating all over the place and seeing new things and feeling the waves whoosh around my hull, began Theodore. But most of all, he went on, I feel like exploring the shore with you, Hank, right now. Well, Hank smiled a great big smile right back at Theodore. They both knew that Theodore was back where he belonged, in the big harbor.
Theodore goes back to the repair dock all the time now. Well, not to get patched up. No. He's learned to watch where he's going. No, he goes back because Shediac loves to hear all the stories about his adventures. Well, I'm much, much cooler now. Besides, I miss my office. I think I'll go back inside. Thanks for visiting us here in the big harbor. We'll see you all again next time. Yes. No, I love this old office of mine. This is where I belong. Oh, and my chair. This is the greatest chair